Welcome to the Skool, where we talk about the design of business and the business of design. I am Jose Caballero. This is Cristo. Today, we're talking about the designer as entrepreneur. Let's do this.
This is a great topic. I don't even know what this means. Let's get into it. You said we're going to channel the Holy Spirit today?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So
Let's do it.
Me and you are longtime entrepreneurs. You've had a studio for 18 years.
Yep.
I've had a studio and now an education company. So are we crazy, or why did we choose to do this? Why did you choose to do this?
I chose to do this because I've always had this dream of creating and starting a business. It just turned out that design was my thing, and I could do that, and I could do that relatively well. And I've always wanted to create a business.
Where did that dream come from, though?
Probably being a refugee and immigrant to this country. You have that American dream.
So it's an FOB thing.
Sure.
Yeah, so you really...
So for some people, we're going to have to put down here what FOB means.
FOB, yeah.
All right, we'll do the definition there, Andrew.
We'll do the definition.
Okay.
So look it up. So
it's the American dream.
It's the American dream.
It's the American dream. I want a piece of the American dream.
Because what I find interesting is that when I talk to the children of immigrants, Hispanic and Asian alike, there is that sense of you want to start something, you're in America, you can do it.
The world's
your oyster.
And it's infinite number of possibilities. So, but I also know something about myself. I have an attention span that is limited to solving problems. I know that repetition kills me. So doing something over and over again, to me, is just, for me, I would go insane. So I also knew that I'm pretty good at talking to people, relatively speaking, maybe not Jose Caballero style, but I'm okay at talking to people. So what I realized is, thank you, ESL, I can go and talk to somebody and say, and build rapport and ultimately trust, get a job. And that was the exciting part to me, was getting people to believe in me and my skills, and then bringing in people to help me accomplish those goals.
I noticed that you're very competitive.
To me, that was very exciting.
You're very competitive.
Is this going to go somewhere?
Yeah, what you just described is, I've noticed that, you're saying it's a game almost. It's like you want the sales, the setting it all up.
Right.
You're competing.
I am.
Interesting. So competitiveness and desire to build something, those are the two things that I've seen.
Well, it's a challenge. I like challenges. I want to challenge myself. So I think that's where I get it from. But I also realize, you know what? If I can go sell something for $100, for example, and then get it made or produced for $30, it would be insane for me in my mind and the way I looked at the world for me to do that work. I'd rather just pay somebody the $30 and then pocket the $70 and go and sell more things.
So it's in Spanish it's called negociarlo, where you can actually negotiate it. I can sell this resource and mark it up, make some money, and not do it myself. So it's a very entrepreneurial space.
Yeah, and I don't even consider myself a good negotiator, at least for most of my life.
So people out there have to make the decision as to whether they do the entrepreneurial route or they work at a company. A lot of people are afraid to leave their companies to do it. Are we advocating for designers to become entrepreneurs, or are we saying, if you want to do it, and here's how? What are we saying?
I don't know. That's a really good question. I think being an entrepreneur is not for everybody, obviously.
True.
There's a lot of risk, and you may not be in a position where you can risk that. So the first thing is you kind of have to look at, when I started my company, I was barely out of school. Maybe I was like 21, 22 years old. I didn't have a whole lot to lose. Really, I thought, in my mind, this is the way it worked, was I think that grace period of 8 to 9 months before the student loans would kick in, that was the best time to try something wacky and crazy because I had very little to lose. I just needed money for rent, and I could eat top ramen. Everybody says top ramen and bread, and liverwurst, whatever you got to do to make it work. So I knew my runway was 8 or 9 months, and I would be able to figure that out. So that was the best time. If you have a family and you've got 4 kids and they're in private school and you want to go and venture off, well, God bless you, do it, but you just know what you're risking.
Yeah, know what you're risking, yeah.
So that's a hard time to be making those decisions. So maybe it's a young person's game, I don't know.
It can be in a lot of ways. I mean, there are ways for people to dovetail it, to have their job at an agency and begin doing some of their things at the top. So one of the things that I've learned in that transition, because I did that, I had my agency and I was starting to build what my future was, right, on top of it. I did it a very kind of smooth transition. I had the group, and then I did group school. And group school taught the process that this group did for clients. And then after a year of doing that, or a year and a half or 2 of doing that, I cut the group out. And then, a few months later, the group is gone, right? And only the school was left. So I was building the new business in parallel to my existing business. That's a hat trick to pull off. But what drove all of it, and not just back, because I don't want to repeat the immigrant ethos of like you can do anything.
It's okay, we're both immigrants.
I have the same thing. But the other driving point in building, the Skool from what was the group was reading the 4-Hour Workweek from Timothy Ferriss. So he talks about a lot about what do you have now of value that you can sell in a replicatable way without it being you. So I said, well, the processes that we developed at the group, I can sell those, and kind of that's what it became the Skool.
Makes sense.
So fundamentally, it's really an issue of it's what you're exchanging value-wise. Is it your time, or is it something that's a product that you can replicate without a lot of effort, especially digital stuff?
Right.
That's the thing for those people that are at a job. Read the 4-Hour Workweek.
Well, there's another way to look at this, and I want to share a friend, and we're probably going to have her on our show at some point, is Yo Santosa. She owns Ferro Concrete, right? And her way of doing it was she worked somewhere, a staff job at You & Company, and she heard of an opportunity that there's this new kind of place that everybody's buzzing about. It's a yogurt place, frozen yogurt. And she went and took a vacation, went to meet with them, gave them a proposal, won the job, quit her job. Won the account, quit her job. Of course.
That's an awesome story. Who's a yogurt place?
Pinkberry.
Pinkberry, right.
Right? So there's other ways. Story, yeah, it is a Cinderella story. So she was able to launch her practice without risking too much. So she did it really wisely.
She did it right. And my first client was my employer, Razorfish. That was my first client with a nice fat gig when I started freelancing right after that. So here's the thing though. Let's talk about it from a point of view of you want to start a non-services business. When we first started meeting and talking about us working together or just catching up, there were several things that you did.
Well, let me tell you some of my observations, okay? Look at where we sit in the food chain, okay? Yeah. We service, traditionally, advertising agencies. So if I want to move up the food chain, I want to be an advertising agency. But who are their clients? Nike, Microsoft. I'd actually rather be those guys. You cannot keep looking at like where does this terminate. It ends up being a person who makes product or content. So then I can hire the ad agency because you got to think about it. And, everything's a percentage of something else. So if you're a company and you have $100 million in gross revenue, you'll spend say 10% on marketing. So the agency is going to get 10% of that 100 million. So math people correct me. So that's $10 million. That $10 million then gets broken down into a lot of little design companies into tiny little pieces, let's say $500,000 at a time. That's where we are right now in the value chain. I'd rather be the person that has $100 billion in revenue. I'm just looking at a numbers game, right? Each time the pie gets a lot smaller.
Yeah, and it will continue to get smaller.
But the thing is, and this conversation seems to be having out there as we kind of talk about what we do, there's this weird reaction to it that when we talk about money and being successful as a business person, you've sold out, you've become evil in the real evil way and not the way you refer to it.
Yeah, you would not be popular in Portland, my friend.
Right?
Yeah.
So, maybe not in most design communities where you're seen as a sellout. So to be successful, to have money, to provide for your family or provide jobs for people that you like, that's a sellout.
Look, keep it in mind. Here's the thing. There's a reality. This is a truth. The reality is that there is a 10 percentile of people just like you and I out there. They don't talk about it. They don't have a show on YouTube talking about the business of design. But I know them. Those are our friends. We probably have far more entrepreneurial friends in creative than most people do because we're entrepreneurs. So here's the thing. Fundamentally, in the arts in general, whether it's fine art, and I've observed this in the fine art world because I've had an interesting insight into it, in design, we have what I call third world country mentality. So we've been subject to industry. We've been at the behest of industry. You just said it. Nike, Microsoft hires an agency, then hires us down here. You're at the bottom of the food chain, meaning that we're used to that feudal system of corporations having the primary control over what we do, and we've never had the opportunity to compete against them directly. So the culture of the 20th century has always been, nice designer, come over, do what you love, and we'll sponsor you. We'll pay you to do just art, just the craft. Now we're in the 21st century. We're going through a very hard transition into realizing, holy shit, we don't have to be beholden to the feudal lords of corporations. We can become feudal lords. We're uncomfortable with it, but you know why?
Why?
Because we were programmed to be uncomfortable and not
Who
step out of
programmed
line.
us?
Our education system.
Which education system?
You went to school here in America, right?
Yes.
Art Center even programs you for it. You're programmed to do craft. You're programmed to work by yourself. Now it's starting to get more collaborative. But look at it. It's an industrial model. They're isolating you in order to give you control. They give you ego. Art Center people,
You're
fucking
gonna
huge
stir
egos.
this thing up, huh?
Yeah, I'm going to stir this up.
We're meeting with Art Center tomorrow.
Oh,
But that's all right.
When is this airing? I think it's airing. They know it.
Right.
No,
It's okay. It's all
they
right.
know it.
You know what's the interesting thing to me?
I've had this conversation with them.
Right, that's cool. The interesting thing to me is
Love you, Art
there
Center.
are a lot of people out there that are listening to our show kind of almost in secret. It's hilarious. It's hilarious because there are some people out there and they come up to me in private, they private message me, I love what you're doing, I'm so happy that you're exposing this, I'm glad that you guys are talking about this because nobody wants to talk about it. There's a lot of risk by being so transparent, putting it all out there, and we do that.
That's why I'm wearing a disguise.
Okay, it's working because I could barely recognize you.
No, but dude, listen, that is a serious issue, though.
Yeah.
Like the issue that we're not willing to or open to the conversation, and that me and you actually even rub people the wrong way in our community.
But I want to get to the why.
Okay, so
why is that?
Why is that?
Let's pontificate on that.
Let's pontificate.
Studio audience.
Why do you think that the design community or creative community doesn't talk about it? The flakies.
Well, it's not that they don't even want to talk about it. They find that when we talk about it, it's uncomfortable and it's distasteful. You know?
Oh yes,
It's a stronger word than just uncomfortable.
I don't think it's that. I think it's anything that's different. It disturbs the foundation of the person's paradigm of how the world should be, and when you do that, it really makes them question themselves.
Damn, that's
wait, hold on. That is super deep, and that's really great. Can you say that again?
She said that what happens
Nicole?
is that people are used to things being the same, and when they see change, it disturbs their paradigm of what their reality is, and it makes them extremely uncomfortable.
But look at this. As designers, that's what we do.
For a living.
For a living, we tell people to change and be uncomfortable with this because we're going to move you into a better place.
Point.
We're going to rebrand you. Yet when it comes to our own understanding of what that means and how we apply it,
rebranding our own profession.
what is our own problem with that? Do you see what I'm saying?
It's a cobbler has no shoes. The cobbler has no shoes. Right?
The shoemaker has no shoes.
Whatever,
his children have no shoes. But like one person was talking about entrepreneurship and then being able to apply that consistently, and then talking about weight loss per se, and being able to follow through with it. What's the holdup?
I need to lose weight.
What's the holdup?
Okay. Moving forward from that topic, I'm not going to answer that question. It's all like in your head, and it's in the head in general. So let's move it to this point. So to be a successful entrepreneur as a creative person really requires you to do what I call a full FIDO, to have the ability to have the execution ability, to have the creative, the business, the technical aspects, and the marketing aspects of your business executed. So I mean, I drew a little flower here that you will not be able to see, but it has 4 quadrants. You know, it has the technical side, the product, the marketing side, and sales. You have operationally, you know, kind of a business. So I've seen you execute your business, and you're very tight and very polished in how you do everything, and very like almost like you said.
Talking about my butt.
No, I'm not talking about your butt or your abs. I'm talking about the business.
Yeah.
And then I'm the opposite. I'm a little bit more like wide and sloppy and kind of like, you see, actually our body types actually was there. Even the body types, I'm a little bit gooey. Yeah, all right. Listen, don't make any comments about that. My God, it's hot in here. So moving on from that. No, here's the point though, that what's happening right now, fundamentally, in addition to the fact that you need to learn all these 4 things, is that we're also being forced to go into entrepreneurship by a lot of reasons. And force
is a strong word.
It's a strong word, but that it's becoming a better option sometimes than the alternative. Does that make sense? Because they're not.
How about this? How about we make a little analogy here?
All right.
Like we're on an island and there are volcanoes going off.
Yes.
Some of us are building boats. Other people like, we've always lived on this island, let's just stay on this island.
Yes.
So the rest of us are going to get off on the boat and travel to a new island where there isn't an active volcano.
Yeah.
Okay?
So
maybe there's a movie tie-in.
That's a movie tie-in.
You know what I'm saying?
Entrepreneurship, designers build boats.
This weekend.
So you're saying that, and we're seeing it because we're having lunches, we're meeting with friends in the industry who've had long time careers and jobs in agencies.
Right.
And those jobs are going away, and they're going to continue to go away. So they have no choice almost. They have to either find other opportunities in the same profession and compete for less jobs, or make their own opportunities.
Yeah.
And we talked about that in the trends. We've talked about in that a lot of reasons why is that happening.
I just want to throw something out there, and I want to try to see if I can bring this back to the designer and their point of view, because if we're talking to entrepreneurs, then we're preaching to the choir already, and they're already kind of gobbling this stuff up.
Yeah.
I'd like to really kind of get to the point about why designers have this hang up. And I want to admit, I'm not a terribly good business person. I've had to learn business things, mostly because I hate looking at the numbers. And this is going to sound terrible, but I don't like looking at numbers, so I know I need to make a ton of profit so I don't have to pay attention to the numbers. That's one way to look at it.
That's a great way of
right?
looking at
So
it.
it's like, in most businesses in America, if you're making 10% net profit, you're doing
Awesome.
fabulous.
Yeah.
They're doing cartwheels, and shareholders are like, you know, shouting out your name and all that kind of stuff, right? But let me bring you back to the designer for a second. All designers, from the first person I meet as a student to whenever, they had this idea, they want to be an art director. Because that title sounds good, like I direct art.
Oof.
Isn't that amazing? I direct art.
Don't make fun of them. Come on.
No, that's
Don't make fun
okay.
of people.
That's okay.
Yeah,
What they don't realize is, as an art director,
Yeah.
you have to have communication skills.
Yeah.
You have to manage a team. Starting to sound like a business person again.
You are a business
What's
person,
going on
you're a
here?
director,
We have to
yeah.
manage team, and we have to have a shared conceptual framework of what the work that the clients want.
Yeah.
Then I have to be a conduit between the people that do and the
And the
people
people
that
that
have needs, right?
needs, yeah.
So the clients say, we need X, Y, and Z. They're like, great, I understand what X, Y, and Z is. I'll go talk to the design team. Design team, X, Y, and Z means the color red, graphic geometric shapes, and black and white photography. Design team gets it. Guess what? You're already becoming an entrepreneur. You're already becoming this person who's connecting people.
Interesting.
So the idea really isn't that crazy. But there are those out there, and you know who you are, that just want to talk about fonts, kerning, and they obsess over it. I was just at Art Center a couple of weeks ago, and there was this whole topic 3x3 about OCD. And designers almost like wanted to just hug each other about who can be more obsessive compulsive than the next.
God, they
Do you
were
understand what I'm
competing
saying?
on that, yeah.
Now, I understand that to a degree because we do need...
Because you're like that too, by the way. Just don't.
Okay,
don't
that's
throw
fine. I am
stones.
OCD.
Yeah, but
I am.
Right.
I admit that. I'm not throwing stones. I'll throw it right back at myself.
Yeah,
That's fine.
meaning-
But I'm just saying, let's not celebrate that as a virtue. It's like, it's something we got to work through.
Yeah.
You know, because we've heard this so many times. Don't let perfect be the enemy of
good.
Of good.
Yeah.
That's it. And that's a big problem. In designers, this is a big problem.
You're advocating a revolution to some degree here of a mindset.
Okay.
It's like, fucking start throwing stones. No, but you know what? It's happening across the board, and it's happening across many industries. What you just said totally makes sense. I'll admit it also, and people are going to be like super shocked and surprised for us here admitting this on a show about the business of design.
We'll edit it out if it's too problematic.
No.
Just kidding.
No. That I'm the same, but the number stuff and about the business stuff, I'm not necessarily the best business person there is. I surround myself with advisors, with people that help me. I'm entrepreneurial because I'm willing to take the risk, and I want to build something bigger than myself. What drives me and motivates me might be different than what drives and motivates you.
It's true. We already found out. Nicole
We
told
already
us.
found that out. But the point, though, is that fundamentally, you know, if you're interested in becoming an entrepreneur, if you're interested in doing something on your own, the fear of the risk, of the financial risk, is very big. That can be mitigated. There are many ways and many books and many things you can read.
Okay, people on the internet, tell me if I'm wrong here. Let us know in the comments.
Peoples of the internet.
All right?
Hear me now.
I don't think people are worried about the risk. They're not motivated by money at all. It's like something totally different.
What is it?
That's what we're trying to figure out.
What does it? So answer this question in the YouTube comments. If you're at a job or if you're wanting to be an entrepreneur, what's holding you back? Like, what's the fear that you have?
We need an OCD designer in here to really
To
address
really
that.
talk about the fear.
Because like
But
I'm
we have
telling
them
you,
on the internet.
maybe
people
they'll
watch
watch,
us.
maybe they won't.
Yeah.
But maybe they'll say something. I don't know. Hopefully we'll draw you out and you guys will comment, right? Because I think the idea of just even talking about money, negotiating,
Makes
and
people
it's
extremely
like
uncomfortable.
diluting who you are, and it's cringe-worthy for them. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I'm
like,
telling you,
leave me alone.
that's
I
our
want to
education
be in my
system.
room, surrounded by my toys, my things, and I want to work on that.
I'm going to challenge on you on that because
Challenge me.
I'm seeing more people being more comfortable and people following our footsteps. By the way, and I want to say that a lot of people follow us as an example, meaning that they say, "Oh, look, these guys are doing something."
Oh, they're in deep
different.
trouble.
You're screwed. Don't do what we're doing. But yeah, actually, take the risk, and it's all experiments fundamentally. So for me as an entrepreneur, there's two things that are fundamentally necessary. One is the willingness and the ability and the understanding of how to kill your own prey. All right, that sounded a little violent. Of how to hunt and how to make money. I'm good at two things: making noise and selling ideas. Right?
One of those statements is true.
No, listen. Trust me. Listen. Trust me. Trust me.
Yeah.
Famous last words.
Yeah, a guy
Please
said to a
trust
drunk
me.
girl. Yes. Yeah.
All right. So, but okay. Trust me. That's not the point. The point is that you have
What's
to
the
be
point?
willing to go out and sell yourself and make the income, not having a dependency on somebody else to do that.
The way you said that, you have to go out and sell yourself. Doesn't
Yes.
that sound horrible to
That's
designers?
prostitution.
It is
It's
prostitution.
prostitution.
Sell yourself.
You do it every day.
I know, but
You
the
do
way,
it every
the
day.
way you're saying is
What are you
we're not
talking-
going to convert anybody
That
on that.
sell yourself isn't probably the best way to put it. Advocate for yourself.
But
I like the way you say things.
advocation for yourself, advocates for yourself. Again, keep in mind, you've been programmed by 20th century education to be academic about design, to worry about kerning, to worry about this, because that's what we've been programmed for. Major design programs do not incorporate entrepreneurship into their curriculum, period.
Well, the same is much broader than that. Major education doesn't incorporate entrepreneurship.
Okay.
We're just a small segment
That is
of that,
true.
right?
So entrepreneurship is still a weird thing, and it shouldn't be.
Shouldn't be.
Yeah. So that's, wow, okay. So
You know,
don't
but
think
you said
entrepreneur-
something before, and I thought I said to you, I'm risk averse, and you said, no, you're not. What did you say?
Your calculated risk.
I take calculated
you take
risk.
calculated
I'm
risk.
always, what's the risk and reward? And I talk to my kids about this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was, you guys know who, is it, what is his name? Is it Jeff Boguski? Who is his name?
Boguski from
Alex Boguski.
Alex Boguski.
Alex
yeah.
Boguski,
Crispin Porter.
you know, visionary leader behind CPB, right? In an article I read about him, they asked him, like, what is it that you do? Like, why do you take all these chances and why do you win all these awards? He said, well, my dad literally asked me, what's the worst that can happen? What's the worst that can happen? And he wasn't just, it wasn't a rhetorical question. He made me go in my room and write down, these are the worst things that can happen. And what happens is when you actually write it down like black and white in front of you, it's never as bad as what you think it is in your mind.
So the emotional context of the fear that it's causing, what you think is going to happen if you go out there and you do your own thing, is a lot less than what it probably really is.
Yeah, so what I did was, you know, my kids, I'm trying to teach them to be a little bit more outgoing. So I say, you know, I need you to go up to the counter and ask them for a fork.
That's
And my
awesome.
kid wouldn't do it.
You're a good
So
dad.
I said, what's the worst that can happen? My little boy, he said, they're gonna kill me. They're gonna kill me. So they're gonna kill you for the fork? Really?
No.
And then I said, you know what? The worst that's gonna happen is they're gonna say, scram, kid, we don't talk to little kids like you, and get out of here.
And then you send
And
him.
chase him away. And then, of course, he begrudgingly goes there. I see a little conversation. He's out of like earshot. He comes back and he's thrilled. He's like, I got it.
fork,
I got a
yeah."
fork.
Got it.
So
Ooh,
this
we
is
should do that.
this is a part of the problem. I don't know what it is. It's about this idea that, you know, we go out there and we sell ourselves or advocate for ourselves, and we create value in how we demonstrate that to other people. That's an evil idea.
It is evil.
There's a problem. It's
That's
not
how it's
evil.
perceived. That's how it's perceived.
Introvert versus extrovert ways of going about things.
That's totally true. And I'm the biggest nerd introvert out there, and he's probably the biggest extrovert.
But you made some decision at some point
To actually go and do it, yeah.
to try to overcome that. Whatever that pivotal point was for you, you made a decision.
It was early on. It was because he started blind right out of school, or like fairly early. So to wrap it back, let's wrap it around back to that point that you just said about, you know, what's the worst that can happen and going out there. My philosophical framework and what I've been doing and what I'm doing today, you know, the reason why we're even sitting here, meaning the school as a whole, is to really provide a place where people can actually take those smaller risks and define who they are and kind of play with, you know, the idea. Not necessarily just at an entrepreneurial level, but I'm going to tell you a crazy insight. At South by Southwest, I did my workshop, which you know well, the core strategy workshop. I did it at South by Southwest with 70 or 80 people. And there was a lot of agency people in there. And I asked them why they're here, and I was writing it down, and I went a little deeper. And they were, well, we want to provide a strategic framework for our agency and do a better job for our clients. And then, and I want to leave my agency. So all of them have this subversive aspect of wanting to go do something for themselves, because they're already that guy that wanted to be the art director. He's already managing people. So now he's like, well, I can do this. Why the heck not do it on my own, right? So there is a natural inclination for leaders, yourself, myself, in a community of whatever. It could be doctors, it could be lawyers, in our case designers, who start businesses and provide employment, whatever the Republicans call it, the
Trickle
job
down.
creators.
Trickle-down economics
Right,
or
trickle
whatever.
down economics. We provide a framework and a structure for that. What my understanding became was that the agency wasn't going to be able to sustain that over the 21st century, and that you needed to create a subset of that where the same value on how to hunt, how to go out, how to package yourself, how to deliver your services needed to be provided to the individuals and to the aggregate, to the agency, but in a broader way of doing it versus just, I go work at an agency, I learn how to do it, I say, fuck you, and I'm going to go start my own agency.
Okay, well, let's talk about this for 1 second here. We have a general rule, Jose, you and I, that we don't plug any products or people or anything on the show, right?
We do not.
We don't. But I do want to do this one thing. Here's the experiment. Jose believes, you believe, in that I can make money off a process that I can replicate to other people.
Yes,
right?
I do.
So we're going to test this theory. You've been working on this concept for a year and a half, a little over a year and a half. It's called the Skool, right? And you're teaching people to do this thing. So you guys are going to be part of this live experiment where we're going to see how much value we can create. And Jose is taking all of what he knows and packaging it into something that he can then sell to other people. So he's moving into the product category, I think, in the educational space, and we're going to find out.
Is it going to work?
Is it going to work?
Sink or swim.
Can we charge enough money to make it valuable and something that we can do full time? Linda has figured that out. Lynda.com.
Over 17
She's figured it out. That's okay. She figured it out.
Yeah.
Other people have figured it out too. Marty Neumeyer's figured it out.
As a writer, he still makes money from an agency though.
Okay. But so he uses the books and the lectures and all that kind of stuff to do lead gen, right?
Okay. You criticize me, whatever you want to call it, for not being aggressive.
I question you.
Question me on not being aggressive enough on the monetization. So what I learned from Linda and from my conversations with her was this issue of figuring out how to deliver value consistently. And she believed at a very reasonable price, like at $35 a subscription. That's if I were building a subscription business, which we do have subscriptions for people that join us every week. But plug. But that's not what my focus is. My focus is this valuable? So that's what I've been testing. The money will come if you really prove the value.
This is great. This is great. So we want to know what the value of this thing is. So we have an idea of what the value is. The market will tell us what the value is.
Will you pay this much to come be trained in this thing?
So as an experiment, recently I was speaking in front of a group of about 100 people at AIGA, right? And so we did a post-event survey, and we asked people, how valuable is this to you? I wish there were a dollar amount that they put in there, but they didn't. They just either said very valuable or not. And we talked about business. And I got to be honest with you, I was really surprised at the people that showed up, the kind of questions they asked, and the amount of interest there was in business as it relates to design. That kind of blew me away. That was very unexpected because typically people who show up to these events want to see your portfolio, where do you get your inspiration from, as if to be able to replicate all that stuff, right? And we've seen that.
Worst events ever.
And we've seen that 1,000 times. Yeah. Those events are great when pre-internet.
Yeah.
Now that the internet is there, it's all available. You don't even have to look for it. It just comes up. You know, Vimeo staff of the week, or pick of the staff of the pick, or whatever, pick of the staff. Yeah. It's out there, and you can see it.
Yeah.
You don't have to look for it. It comes to you. Anyways,
so you're saying
we need to wrap up.
So in conclusion,
is there a conclusion to this?
There is. I mean, it's an ongoing dialogue. I would like to hear from our viewers. First of all, this issue of designer as entrepreneur, this issue of fear, like why do you not what's holding you back?
Should we do a whole topic on fear?
Yeah, fear.
Designers
is a really
and fear.
Great topic.
Okay, we can do that.
Let's do fear as a topic. So we're doing equity, we're doing designers entrepreneur, we're doing fear. We're really getting deep into the business of design. That's actually a pretty good thing. And ask us questions. Tweet us. There's a Twitter right here, somewhere in front of the table. That you're going to put on there, hopefully, in the edit. But just a dialogue to understand what the needs are of the community. Because at the end of the day, and with the timer, at the end of the day, my personal mission is to really help us as designers make this transition into the 21st century. And I think that...
That's your mission?
Yeah.
And to make some money at it, too?
The money will come.
Okay. Well, I don't have any wrap up to this, but every week we make promises about things that we're going to talk about. And sometimes we don't deliver.
Sometimes we don't deliver,
so if we don't hear from you or some other thing that you guys comment on seems more urgent and pressing, then we just totally change topics and we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Awesome.
We appreciate your feedback and your comments, guys.
Subscribe.
I'm Cristo. That's Jose Caballero. Thanks for joining us.
See you guys later.
Because I can then just make $70 and then go and get another sale.
So you're marking it up.
Well, what's going on there?
Hello. Hey Dan, let me. Can I call you back in about 10 minutes?
Are you serious?
Freaking taping a live episode. I can't believe this.